Hello everyone from ULSUM. I'm Adam Chang, 24 years old, work at Nike, global merchandising. I'm going to show you some of my 5 favorite sneakers today. So we're in Beaverton, Oregon at the Nike World Headquarters. This is the Bo Jackson gym. Yeah, this is the World Headquarters where everything gets done. This is where all the design happens, merchandising happens, all the marketing here. So this is the mecca, kind of the big place for Nike. So I work out at this gym I try to work out every morning, but sometimes I'm lazy. But I like to try to play basketball a couple times a week. And then we have a couple gyms. We have this gym. There's another sports center gym. You could rock climb. You could go swimming there. And then a new Coach K gym, so dictated towards more basketball. So it's a really cool gym. So I'm global merchandising, and when people hear merchandising, they think, oh, you just stock the shelves with product. What? It's a lot different than that. Global merchandising is more about the right product in the right place and the right time. So we have to know our consumer. Obviously, every consumer in different regions of the world are all different. So understanding the consumer needs and the proper product to have in those locations, which would be the right place. So we look at distribution strategies. Obviously, the same consumer that buys Foot Locker is not the same consumer that will buy at Fred Meyer's or at Kohl's, right? So having the right product for the right consumer at the right place, and then the right time would be how we release the product. So looking at launch dates, looking at certain flows. If we want to have more exciting moments around like Christmas or the shopping season or moments around Chinese New Year. So right product, right place, right time is kind of the gist of my job. Okay, so first of all, picking my top 5, that was tough. That's impossible, but I try to do it. So this is my #1 favorite shoe, no questions. You could be wearing anything with this shoe and it'll look good. You could be wearing a garbage bag and it'll still look good. This is the best shoe to me. So this is a 2011 Black Cement 3. My favorite Black Cement 3 would be the 1994, which was the year I was born. And obviously the year I was born, I didn't get that shoe, but just the proportions of that shoe, the elephant print, and I love everything that has anything with elephant print is like my favorite thing. Jordan 3, Black Cement. Again, you can wear this shoe with pretty much anything. It looks good with any outfit. So this shoe's amazing. Designed by Tinker Hatfield, originally designed in 1988, made famous by the white colorway, Michael Jordan jumping from the free throw line. But yeah, this color is just awesome. It was one of the shoes that really saved Nike. Jordan was supposedly leaving after the Air Jordan 2. He was not extremely happy with how Nike was designing. Tinker Hatfield was put on this project. He was an architect for Nike before that. And then he designed Jordans 3 through, he left after the 15, and then a couple more projects. He came back with the 23, and the rest is history. Like, this is an amazing shoe. Special reasons, aside from the way they look, I just think the perfect balance of like, I love black shoes, but this has like the perfect balance of being black with like pops of different materials, different colors. When this specific shoe came out, it was in 2011, I was in high school, and I remember waiting for this shoe and I didn't get my size, so I had to trade on Craigslist. It's like a local site where you just can buy and trade stuff. I was able to trade this for my size, and I wore this shoe. I don't wear it that much anymore because I didn't want it to like get more dirty, but I wore this shoe so many times with like in my senior pictures and my basketball pictures. It's just like a shoe that, a point in my time that was very like meaningful to me. Again, going back to like the year I was born, 1994, which was the second time this shoe got retroed. It's just made for like a really cool story, and I just really like the Jordan 3. It's a good silhouette. I was able to meet with Tinker in his office, and this was when I was just graduating high school, going into college, and I thought I wanted to go in footwear design. But as I started to meet with more people, I realized there's a lot more jobs than just design out there. But Tinker has always been one of those people, everybody looks up to Tinker. Everybody knows who Tinker is. You know who Tinker is, you know? He's a legend in the design world. So one day I was working at the Nike store. That's my old job. He came into the doors and I was like, oh my God, it's like a brush of wind came in. I was like, oh, it's Tinker Hatfield. I was like, wow. So I asked him, I was like, do you mind if we ever sit down and I could show you some of my designs and we can just chat for career advice? And he agreed to that, and I was like, well, that's awesome. So 3 months went by, did not hear anything from him. And then one day, his assistant emailed me and was like, Adam, can you meet tomorrow at 3 p.m. in Tinker's office? He wants to meet with you. And I was like, yeah. I told my manager, I was like, I can't come to work tomorrow. I'm not gonna go to school. I'm just gonna meet with Tinker. So we sat in his office for almost 2 hours talking about his pathway. And I want to try to guide the conversation away from shoes and just hear about like his influences and like his background, because I could find all that information online. Tinker and shoes, the same thing, right? So like I want to talk about more of like what inspired him, what was his outside hobbies, and what kept him driving and kept his creative juices flowing, and just advice that he had for me as wanting to be here and work here as I was in college, just advice that he had to me to get here. which was obviously network, meet people, finish college, and stay passionate. And my passion was footwear, just always having that in my mind to finish school, stay passionate, no matter how hard it was to try to get a job here. So he drew a shoe and I was like, what is that? He's like, well, I can't draw anything that is not out yet. So it looked like a 29, but it wasn't. It was some random shoe that he drew in my notebook. I told him like stories about my dad, and like he wrote a message to my dad saying, your son is so awesome, he's gonna be really successful here at Nike. And then Tinker Hatfield, and then he signed it. And then he wrote like he drew a shoe and then he put a dollar sign next to it too. It was just, as I was talking to him, like, it sounded like he wasn't listening, but he was just on his notebooks. He's like, oh, keep talking. And as I was talking to him, he just kept sketching, and it was cool. It was a really awesome experience. Another 3, so again, going off, I love Jordan 3s. This is my second favorite colorway of the Jordan 3s. So this shoe came out in 2010, and then they re-retroed the shoe in 2013. While I was in school, they did a design academy for students in the local area around here. And my teachers in my marketing class, they're like, Adam, you don't really pay attention in class and all you do is draw, so you might as well join this competition. And I was like, okay, I'll do it. So I did it, and I did it for 2 summers in a row, and I got first place both times, which was an awesome experience. So the team that I got to shadow was the team that was working on this shoe right here, which was the Jordan retro team. Amazing team. They taught me all about development, design, product management. And this was one of the shoes that they were working on at the time, so they showed me like the really early samples of it. And it was just cool because, one, I love the Jordan 3, and second, it's Doernbecher. So those who don't know about Doernbecher, it's a children's hospital in the Portland area that takes care of sick kids, and Nike has a partnership with them. Every single year, we choose 6 patient designers to design a shoe based off of, like whatever their illness is, whatever their story is, to be able to like have a shoe and really use their creativity and do whatever they want with it. And then all the proceeds, 100% of them go to the Doernbecher Children's Hospital. So it's a really special collection. It's definitely something that I would love to be a part of one day. I just love the aspect and the thought process that goes behind having a patient designer and having a kid actually be the designer of a shoe. And if you look at the print of this shoe, it's supposed to say Cole in lasering, but my pair is a mistake pair. And it says Elock backwards, so it's supposed to say Cole. So I don't know who Elock is, but Cole Johnson is the kid that designed this shoe. He was attending the Doernbecher Children's Hospital at the time in 2010. And yeah, he did a really cool job. So he inspired this so he loves spaghetti. So if you look at some of the back details, it has like spaghetti there, it has his name. I believe it was a heart disease that he had, so that's why it's red. And you could see some like other details like strength is courage on the insole, has some really cool branding. So this shoe, one, I love the way it looks. Red's my favorite color. It's a Jordan 3, but it's more about the inside scoop that I got to see, the process of this shoe getting designed, the meaning behind it. It's just a lot of things added up together. That's why it's one of my top 5. And then continuing on the Doernbecher, so this is a Doernbecher 5. Really, really cool shoe. It came with a laser pointer and a black light, and if you shine the light, it has a lot of encouraging words and words that meant a lot to Isaac. And this is kind of a sadder story. So each kid, again, we pick 6 kids a year for the Doernbecher project, and Isaac was one of the kids, and he actually passed away during the process. So this is more of a memorial shoe for him. Again, that's why it comes with a black light. A lot of words that are meaningful to him and his family. So this is more of like a memorial shoe for him, or like a celebration of his life type of shoe. It's the Air Jordan 5. I love the Air Jordan 5, amazing silhouette. Design's inspired by a Mustang fighter jet. You can see the teeth right there. It's all glow on the bottom, glow right here on the midfoot, and then on the eye stay, glow as well too. So just a really crazy shoe, but with a really inspiring and really unique story. I thought I wanted to be a shoe designer at first. As a kid, I thought it went from design and then to the shelf. Like, there's nothing in between. So as I started to meet with the Jordan team, as I started to meet with more people at Nike, I realized that there's so much more in between design and consumer that I can have a role in. And that's where I found merchandising as one of the opportunities. It's just one of those things that you don't really know what it is until you start to meet with people and people that have those jobs. So it was definitely an eye-opening experience, especially in high school. Like, I just did not know anything. So as I progressed through college, as I started to meet with more people, other jobs started to interest me more than design. I still love design. One of my passions of mine, I still love to draw. But as a career, I think it's best I leave it to the designers, and it's something that I would just really appreciate and I'm a huge fan of. We have a couple friends that have some sneaker stores around Portland. Index, you know Index? Ben loves to DJ, so we would have some parties there sometimes and he'd be DJing there. The Portland community is a really small community. Again, this is the world headquarters in Beaverton, but Portland in general is just a very small city. If people are interested in the same sort of things, you kind of end up in the same places together, you know? So Index was a kind of a place where everybody that loves shoes, loves fashion, loves music, we'd all come together and just hang out. So that's where I met Jermaine, that's where I met Ben, that's where I met Carlo, like some of my best friends that work here, because we share a lot of the same passion, we share a lot of the same interests. So naturally, when you see people like that together, like you kind of just gravitate towards one another. I think that's kind of the story of all of Nike campus is like, one, it's people that are the best in the business, the best at design, the best at merchandising, the best at marketing. And we come together because we have a lot of the same interests, a lot of the same passions, and it's cool. It's here because I grew up here. So it's right in my backyard. It's like a melting pot of everybody with the same passions coming together. And that's how I got close with a lot of the people. So every single year, some of my best friends that work here at Nike, Ben, Jermaine, and Carlo, we always do something weird for each of our birthday, like in the shoe form. So that was kind of the kickoff to the birthday gifts. Each year we always do something kind of different and crazy. One, it was kind of two celebrations. It was Ben's birthday, but it was also the celebration of his first signature shoe, which was a Kyrie 4. We're like, what can we do? Like, he has every shoe that you could think of, every Kyrie you could think of, so what can we do to make it different? So people thought it was a sample, but it was literally, I bought a Kyrie 4 from the employee store down the road here, $60, and then I used a can of spray paint and just sprayed, and it was like really shiny, it looked like a trophy. So I just sprayed it, like 18 coats of just spray paint, and then I put it in the box, we signed it. It went on Instagram and like everybody was just like, what is this shoe, it's crazy. But it was just literally any regular Kyrie 4 with spray paint. So it was just like it kind of broke the internet, but it was really funny that we got to do something like that, and it was special since it was his birthday. It's crazy though, right? Okay, so this obviously Air Yeezy 1 shoe came out in 2009. This shoe at the time was absolutely crazy. So the proportions of it, utilizing the Air Revolution tool, midfoot strap. I would say this color now is more popular than it is back then, because everybody liked the black pink one, everybody liked the gray, the Zen gray ones, but the net or the tan colorway now is amazing. So it's Vachetta tan with a couple hits of pink on here. I don't really wear this shoe a whole lot because it's so high, it literally goes up to my kneecap. It doesn't look very good on my foot, but I love this shoe. The details in it are awesome. The materials, the quality is great. Yeah, it's just one of those crazy shoes that I never thought I was gonna have, but I have it and it's awesome. I got this shoe pretty recently. So some guy, his name's Daniel, shout out Daniel. He reached out to me on Instagram and he's like, hey, do you wanna buy my Yeezy 2s for $200? I was like, yeah, I do actually. I got these a couple months ago actually, and I thought I would never have them because I don't want to pay a crazy price for them, because I could either buy these or a Honda Civic, and that makes no sense to buy a pair of shoes for that much money. These are really expensive, but I got a really cheap deal on it. I just thought I'd never have this shoe, but now I have it. So my favorite detail would be the Y print. So again, I love elephant print, and if you look at how the elephant print on here on the toe box, this Y print for Yeezy is kind of like replicated on that. So I like that little detail. It's on suede, it's like a pressed suede. Kind of looks like a J then a Y. Yeah, that's a cool detail. If I was a designer, I don't know if I would recreate a new shoe, or recreate an old shoe, but I think I would want to create a new shoe because we have so much amazing older shoes that I don't know if I could ever do it justice. But I think with Nike's history and where we've been to where we're going, you see a lot of amazing products like the Element 87. You see different versions of like the Waffle Racer with the Sakai Racer. So if I was a designer, maybe I would do like an older looking shoe with like a lot of new innovation to kind of highlight where we've been and also highlight where the brand is going to like utilize. Because if you look at each of Nike's decades, each decade kind of has a certain design attribute about it. Like the 70s is like overlays and really sharp materials. Like the 80s is more about like the legacy era. That's when Jordans got introduced. It's when the Air Max 1 got introduced. The 90s is like amazing storytelling. You could think of like the Air Max 97 is inspired by a Japanese bullet train. Going into the 2000s, which is one of my favorite shoes, the Presto, which again, if I could have 10 favorite shoes, then there'd be the Presto in there. So if you look at each of Nike's decades, each design language is also different. So I would definitely create a shoe that highlights all of that and show where Nike has been and highlight where we're going as a company. Okay, this shoe is this is fun. You like it, they like it, I like it. This is a nice shoe. So this is the Nike Dunk Uncle, Nike Dunkle, Nike Dunk Futura. There's so many names to this shoe, but however you want to say it, this shoe is amazing. So this came out in 2004. It's a Dunk SB High. So it's just a collaboration with Uncle and Futura, who's a graffiti artist. So you can see all the detailing. Amazing graffiti artist Futura is. This is just one of the craziest dunks. Like at the time, like 2004, nobody wore pink, but now this shoe, we saw Travis Scott wear it, so like the prices just went up and up. So luckily I got that before that. Yeah, and as we see Dunk SBs starting to become more popular and more popular, I'm glad I have it in my collection, and this has always been one of my favorite shoes. So when I first got into shoes around 2001, 2002, my cousin was the one that got me into shoes, and then this came out in 2004, and it was one of the shoes that he had that I could never get. And I was just like, ugh, I was like, man, I really want that shoe. So yeah, I always made it a thing, like, I really want to have, because I looked up to him a lot, so I always wanted to have what he had. And then he told me about this shoe, that I would never have this shoe, and now I have it. So it's just a really cool looking shoe, really cool color blocking, really awesome design. Sneaker culture now is definitely more towards the hype, what's popular, what other people are wearing. I feel like it's going away from what's your own flavor and your expression and what you actually like. It's more about if it's rare or if it's, I mean, a lot of these shoes, I kind of fall into that bucket, but everybody likes rare shoes, but it's about the storytelling. And I think 10 to 15 years ago was more about the stories about the shoes, the stories about you getting the shoes, waiting in line, like what it took to get those shoes. Now we could just click a button or pay whatever crazy price for shoes. So I think the sneaker culture now is definitely dictated towards more of the hype or the popularity. And then back then, 10 years ago, is more towards what you're into, what your sense of fashion is, and the stories that could be told alongside shoes. I like a mixture of both, because I definitely think, like as a brand, for especially Nike, understand that the consumer is always evolving. And I think a lot of people get frustrated to say like, oh man, the new age sneaker culture is just like bad, but as consumers evolve and grow, you have to stay relevant with them. Obviously, I think a mix of good storytelling with amazing product is the key. If it's limited, then more people gravitate towards it. But if it has an amazing story, I think more than anything, that will resonate with the consumer a lot better. Fashion, that was bad fashion. My shorts went down to here. They're like pretty much pants. That was a dark time in my life. No, that was when I was probably in 8th grade or so, and I was the shoe guy in 8th grade. Like everybody knew, like Adam Chang and shoes, like I was the guy for shoes. Yeah, that was 2008 actually, because you could see the hyper dunk around my neck. I don't know what I was doing in that picture. Please don't ever show that again. That's what I was about. I just loved shoes, and again, it was when my parents weren't home, so I set up all my shoes like really quickly, took the picture. Yeah, it's funny to look back on that picture. It'd be cool to like have that on a t-shirt or something to show like, this is where I was, this is like the consumer that I was, the kid that I was, just really into shoes. Unfortunately, my height stopped, and my dreams of being a basketball player kind of stopped with that. I used to be able to dunk, but now I'm getting older, bones getting a little bit more frail. I'm still huge into basketball. Now I like to just play basketball casually. But yeah, definitely really into basketball. Yeah, I was born and raised here, so one, I don't like how much it rains here, because when you wear shoes like this or shoes like that, like it just gets drenched. It rains a lot here, but it's a really beautiful place to live. A lot of hiking, in the winter, snowboarding. So it's a really cool place to live, especially if you love outdoor activities. Nike's here, so that's a great reason to live here. Yeah, it's just a really great place to be. It has a mix kind of everything. Small city, nice people, good food. It's kind of all you need, you know?